Let me just start this video by saying I tend to not enjoy making these videos, these prediction videos where you've got to try and put 20 teams in order so early on in a season. It's very difficult, and I thought I would just avoid doing it this season. But I had an idea, and that is just to predict the top 6 and the 3 teams to be relegated. I think that makes more sense for me. It's impossible to know who's going to come 14th, 12th, and 8th, and I know it's just for fun, but I'd rather talk about the things that actually matter. You know, the top 6 is very important, and the bottom 3 is very important. In between, well done if you made it, you're safe, right? It's not really that big of a deal, unless someone like maybe an Arsenal, a Chelsea, whatever, are in 7th and 6th, and it's really tight towards the end of the season. Then, of course, finishing in 7th is a pretty big deal, as it could be, you know, well, you're out of Europe. Simple as that. So I do get that 7th and even 8th can be quite a big deal, but we're going to talk about the top 6 and the bottom 3, and these are going to be my predictions. I will get a lot of hate. I know I will. I've just got to repeat myself every time I do these videos. They're just opinions. If you disagree, that's absolutely fine. You will not agree with my predictions, but I'm getting my opinions out there. If you want to share yours, the comments are down below. You can tweet me yours. But we're going to start off with the bottom 3. Very, very difficult this year. I'm actually struggling to think of 3 teams that I think are going to be the worst 3 teams. When you've got promoted teams like Fulham and Wolves spending more than top 6 teams, trying to, you know, make sure they've got the right squad to stay in the Premier League. Of course, it's worth a lot of money to stay in the Premier League to teams. They've invested heavily, so I can't see Fulham and Wolves being down there. However, Cardiff I can see being there. And Cardiff are the team I'm going to go with in the number 20 spot. I know we've already seen one game this weekend, of course, for every team. Everyone's played once, and it doesn't mean anything to me. The first weekend is such... Even the first 5 weekends, I would say, it doesn't really mean anything in terms of the whole season, does it? So I'm not going to be judging them off this, but they didn't do particularly well in their first game. And I look at their squad and I see the lack of investment compared to other teams in that area of the table. I'm struggling to see Cardiff staying in the Premier League this season. But the bottom 3 that I'm predicting, I think they could be either of those 3 spots. I'm not saying that Cardiff are definitely going to finish rock bottom, but I think they're going to struggle. And they I think, are the most likely to finish in 20th. Based off their squad and the lack of investment, I'd be a bit worried if I was them, because a lot of the other teams around your level have invested more. Well, some teams have, at least, anyway. I think one of the other teams that will really struggle this year is Huddersfield. Again, similar to Cardiff in that they haven't really invested as much as some of the other teams around them. And they've got some great players, don't get me wrong. And I'm really happy they're in the Premier League. It was great to see them last season in the Premier League. And it's great that they've managed to stay up. However, I think this season might be just one season too many for them. Again, they just haven't done enough in the window, if you ask me. Actually, quite a lot of teams haven't done enough, including my team, Arsenal. But that's for another video. I just think with Huddersfield, compared to some of the other teams in that position of the table, I don't think their squad quite holds up. But again, that's just my opinion. I'm probably going to be massively wrong. Maybe they're going to finish like Burnley did last year and make it into Europe. You never know. And to complete my 3 relegation favourites, I hate saying it that way, and I hate the fact that I'm going to be talking about this team because I actually really like them. I think they've got a decent squad. I just don't see how they're going to be able to compete with some of the other teams, and it's going to be Brighton. And I'm really sorry, Brighton fans, because I love Brighton. I actually think they did really well last season. I love the manager. I love the squad they've got. But when you look at it on paper, and again, slight lack of investment. A few players have, you know, maybe not shone as much as they should have last season. I don't know. Should I be putting Brighton in there? Yeah, I'm going to stick with it, I think. Yeah, Brighton. I think Brighton in 18th. But I hope not. I would love it if they stayed in for another year. So that completes my bottom 3. I'm going Brighton in 18th. I'm going Huddersfield 19th. And I'm going to go Cardiff for 20th. But best of luck to all of the teams that will be around the relegation zone, because it's a tough fight every single year. And quite literally, anyone could go down. It's going to be a really tight year. But now let's talk about the top 6. Where do I start here? I'm probably going to disappoint quite a few people. I know a lot of my channel is about Arsenal. And I want to be optimistic. I want to say, yeah, we'll make it into the top 4. But the first team I'm going to talk about, and coming in at 6th place, is my team, Arsenal. I'm not happy with the transfer window being the way it was. I'm happy that we got players in, but the calibre of players, only 1 or 2 of those signings I'm actually excited about, and that's Torreira and Guendouzi. And even then, you're looking at 2 players that don't really... They're not like, big signings. It's not Jorginho from Napoli, is it? It's Torreira from Sampdoria. Yes, he looks great, and I'm sure he will be a great player for us, but it's a different level, isn't it? When you're talking, we've spent, let's say it's 60 million. I can't exactly do the maths right on the spot now, adding it all up. And then you look at City, they spent that on 1 player, and arguably isn't even close to being their best player in Mahrez. You saw them at the weekend bringing on De Bruyne. Sane! The levels here we're talking about are so different, and compared to the other 5 teams that are going to be above us, in my opinion, I just think we're a little bit far off. And of course, this is a transitional year, maybe 2 years that it's going to take here to settle down, and it's a new era for us. And I'm not even going to be disappointed with a 6th place finish. I think that's the bare minimum, but that's where I'm going to put us. I don't think we're going to be able to beat some of the other teams that I'm going to talk about over the length of 38 games. So let's go into 5th place. And again, probably going to be wrong on this one because it's a similar situation to Arsenal. We've got Chelsea with a new manager, with a few new faces. I think they're lacking a couple of positions as well. Their striking options, I think, are a little bit limited, with Morata just not good enough, in my opinion. He looks like a really, really bad deal at the moment. They've managed to keep hold of Hazard, though, which is a big thing. I think if they lost him, that would have been something else. But bringing in Jorginho, I think, is a great bit of business. Him with Kante and Kovacic on loan. Kovacic. He's going to be a great addition as well. I like him a lot. Very, very good on the ball. A technician, really. And I'm interested to see how those 3 midfielders can be put into the team. But Chelsea... Are they as good as the next 4 teams I'm going to talk about? I mean, you know who I'm going to be talking about in the next few minutes. I just don't think they are. So I'm going to go with Chelsea in 5th, just missing out on the Champions League. Now into the top 4, the big money spots. You get yourself into the biggest competition in the world, the Champions League. It's the Holy Grail. It's where every team wants to be. It's where I want Arsenal to be. And I'm going to go with Spurs, just about edging in 4th place. The only team... not to sign a player, which is an absolute disgrace, by the way. Sure, your manager might be confident in your squad, but you're telling me there wasn't a single player this window available to improve your squad. Not even the first team, but maybe improve the bench. Not even a youngster that has loads of promise. They were linked with Grealish, Martial, as if that was ever going to happen. I mean... really poor from Tottenham. And you know what? They may be our biggest rivals at Arsenal, but I feel for them because if Arsenal didn't sign any players, having not won a trophy in so long, not good enough. But the main thing is they've kept their squad together. They could easily be losing Kane, Dele Alli, Vertonghen. They could lose some of their key players in the next few years if they don't win things, which is why I think this is such a pivotal year for them. New stadium... no signings. It could go massively wrong from here. Imagine if next summer they still haven't won anything. They lose Kane. They lose Vertonghen, Lloris. They could lose Dele Alli. You never know. And most importantly, they could lose Pochettino. It wouldn't surprise me if Real Madrid have another really poor season in the league, sack their new manager and bring in Pochettino. I could see that happening and bring in Kane with him. It's just... absolutely huge that Tottenham stay in the Champions League and win something this season. It's absolutely vital. It's a huge season for them, and hopefully they do horrendously so I can laugh. But I don't think they will. I still think they're going to have a solid season. They've still got their main squad togetherness, which is a big thing, and I'm sure they'll do very well in their new stadium, which looks great, by the way. Now, into the top 3. This is when it gets really interesting. In 3rd place, I'm going to go with Manchester United. So that leaves 2 more teams, and you guys know who I'm going to be talking about. Fulham and Wolves. They're going to be finishing in 1st and 2nd. No, I'm joking. Manchester United. I'm going to go with them in 3rd because they've invested a little bit, not much, but they have improved the squad with Fred coming in. I think he's going to be a great addition for them. And, of course, they've managed to hold together the main squad with Lukaku up front. That's always good. Pogba in midfield, Bailly in defence. That's, the three players that you really need to keep hold of, I think. Pogba almost went to Barcelona, apparently. And they failed to sign a defender, though. They were looking at Godin on the very last day. I'm sorry, but how are you going to prize away one of the best defenders in the world with six hours remaining on the window? I'm not really sure what went on there, but they failed to sign a defender. But I just see Manchester United as this train, this absolute force that doesn't even play well. They still grind out wins. That's what I think they're going to do again this season. And I think purely on paper, with Alexis, if he can pick up his form, with Lukaku doing so well at the World Cup, they've got some great firepower. I think Pogba he's going to be in the form of his life this season. They've just got more than Spurs, Arsenal and Chelsea. I feel like they will get into the top three. And if they don't, it wouldn't surprise me. But if they do, it wouldn't surprise me. I think they're there or thereabouts. And again, it's a big season for them as well. I personally think it's Mourinho's last big chance at Manchester United. They've got to win something this season. If they fail to win a big trophy, an FA Cup, a League Cup at least, then it might be good night for Mourinho, because they're not playing nice football. They're not a fun team to watch. And I see the fans on Twitter complaining that it's like watching Stoke sometimes. They're very defensive, but they win games. And I think they will make it into that top three. So this is the moment where you find out first and second. Pretty much, if you're smart, you'll be able to work out who is in first place by me telling you who's in second. And I'm going to go with Liverpool. Obviously, that means I think Man City are going to win. But first, let's talk about Liverpool. Wow, what a squad. What a transfer window. Great manager. They've got every possibility this season of actually keeping up with Man City. I think they're the only squad that has a chance in hell of keeping up with them. And I'm not even saying beating them to it, just keeping up. Let's say you've got to be within 9 points of Man City by the end of the season. I think Liverpool are realistically the only team that can do that. With Mane, with Salah, with Firmino as the front three. The signings they've made for midfield as well, with Keita, Fabinho. They've got such a good team. Van Dijk in defence as well, absolute warrior. They've got the best defender in the world in Lovren. They've signed a new keeper in Alisson. They've got one of the most promising defenders in the Premier League in Alexander-Arnold-Trent at right back. Or Trent Alexander-Arnold, sorry. Why did I just mix that up? They've got Robertson on the left as well, who I think is a hugely underrated player. Fantastic defender, great work ethic. And they will be a force to be reckoned with. So no doubt in my mind that Liverpool are one of the teams to watch. Salah, again, hot favourite to be top scorer, along with Harry Kane, maybe Aubameyang. It's going to be a very tight season for Liverpool. I think, if they can live up to the hype right now, and with Klopp being, I think, in his prime right now, this is the best I've seen from Klopp. And that's saying a lot. When he was at Dortmund, he was incredible. But what he's got going with Liverpool, and it's just proof that when a manager is given time and a few transfer windows, they really can get their hands on the squad and really do what they want with it. It proves to you it does work if you just give them time, which is what I hope Emery gets. But Klopp, with his squad, unbelievable. They've got a chance. They really do. I don't think they're going to win the league, but I think they very well could be very close in the next few years. It just completely depends on Man City and whether they can keep this up, really. No team has dominated the Premier League as much as Man City has over the last 18 months, I would say, because it's almost like watching the Arsenal Invincibles, the way they just steamroll teams. But the problem was keeping that squad together and keeping up that level. When you raise the bar that high, staying there is another thing. And I think Man City, they've got a better squad than Arsenal did back then, and they've got every chance of staying at that level. And Liverpool, they're this far off it. They really are very, very close. Very close. But let's talk about Man City, who I think will be winners of the Premier League again this season. They're the ones to beat. You saw them against Arsenal in second gear. Not even their first team as well, with no Jesus potentially, Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva. Who else am I going to mention? I mean, I guess you could say Company, but more Otamendi. They didn't play with him. Incredible, man. The squad they've got, and when you see them bringing on De Bruyne, Sane, it's actually a bit disgusting. It makes me feel a bit sick. The thing is, though, I have a soft spot for Man City. You know, they're a big team in my family. My dad's side, there's a lot of City fans, and I've watched them growing up quite a lot, back when they were nothing. And to see what they are now, it is incredible, and it just shows, well, it shows what money can do, and what having Pep Guardiola can do to a team as well. He's a genius. He really is. And I just don't see anyone beating Man City this season. And I don't mean they won't lose games, because they will. There's no doubt they won't be able to go unbeaten. They almost, I guess, had a good go last season. But this year, I think they'll be beaten more. They won't reach 100 points this season. I think everyone has closed the gap a teeny bit, especially Liverpool. But they'll win again. I don't see anyone else winning the title. Only Liverpool come close, in my opinion. And Man City should effectively walk away with the title again. It wouldn't surprise me if they get towards that 90, 95 points mark and scoring a bag loads of goals as well. It's just a disgusting squad. So strong. So that is going to be my Premier League prediction for the season. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. It's just my opinion. Don't slate me if you think I'm wrong. Let me know yours down below. Do your top 6 and bottom 3 as well. And I will see you in my next video very soon.